morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Unit 10, Lesson 2. We had 1 and 1.5, which is both review on slope. We're going to start Unit 10, Lesson 2 today, which is about point slope form. Remember, we tried y equals mx plus b before. M is our slope, b is our y-intercept. It's called slope-intercept form. We're going to look at point slope form. It's called point slope form because you are given both a point and a slope. I got it right here for you. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We all know that m is our slope. We know y is an output. We know x is an input. Well, what about x1 and y1? Well, these are just coordinates. These are points. This is your y coordinate, and this is your x coordinate. A little weird. I'll tell you that as we get through this will all make really, really easy sense for you, and it will become very clear. Again, point slope form. We're given a point, an x, and a y, and a slope. Point slope form. Let's get into our lesson here. Let me zoom in a little bit, make it a little bit easier for us to see. I'm going to write the point slope form for a line that has a slope of -3, and it contains the point 4, -1. Again, that point is x and y. Remember, our equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we showed this in class. I talked about it and say write it down, but I said this is our little preview. Okay, let's put our slope in first. Well, our slope is m, and that's -3. We can keep the y, we can keep the x. We want to know what's the opposite of the y coordinate, and the y coordinate is -1. So what's the opposite of -1? Well, that's +1. And then what's the opposite of the x coordinate? X coordinate is +4, so the opposite is -4. We got our equal sign in there, and that's all it is. Y plus 1 equals -3 times x minus 4. Pretty straightforward. Put your point in, put your slope in. Opposite of your coordinate on each one. That's it. Pause the video if you need to write that down. I'm going to clear it out here because I got to scroll, and I'm using a different program today that doesn't let that scroll with me. Let's look at the second problem here. Write the point slope form for a line that has a slope of 3/4 and contains the point -4, -5. Again, our slope is 3/4. Our coordinate is -4, -5. That's an x and a y again. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y, the opposite of the y coordinate. The y coordinate is -5, so the opposite of that is 5. M is 3/4. X, the opposite of the x coordinate, the opposite of -4 is +4. And you're done. This is a linear equation. If you graph this, it would be a line on the graph, and we'll see that later on. Okay? Opposite of the y, opposite of the x. Pause it if you need to write those down. I'm going to clear it out here. Well, what about writing the equation of a point through in point slope form through a specific point? Notice we do not have a slope. We need to find our slope. And the way we do that is we make an XY table. We are given 2 points, 6, 8, 6, 8, and 4, -2. We need to identify the slope, which is the change in y over the change in x. Change in y, 8 to -2 is -10. Change in x from 6 to 4 is -2. That can be reduced down to -10 divided by -2 is +5. That is your slope. Now we can write our equation. Y, and notice that we have 2 points here. They are both an x and a y. It actually doesn't matter which point you pick. Just make sure if you pick 6 and 8, you use both 6 and 8. If you pick 4 and -2, make sure you use those. Don't mix them up. So let's use this first one, 6 and 8. The opposite of 8 is -8, and that equals our slope times x, the opposite of 6, which is -6. That could be one of them. Or you could write, notice how I used or, not and, y, the opposite of -2 is +2, times our slope, x, the opposite of 4 is -4. Both of those are acceptable equations. Both will give the same equation or same line on a graph, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. I'm going to erase this stuff, so if you need to pause, do that really quick. And there it goes. So I'm going to pop over to another resource here. Just going to leave up my equations. Okay, let's jump over to what's called Math Whiteboard. Notice I got the equations here. I'm going to rewrite those on the actual site here. And I'm going to use this math write function, which lets me write on here. I have a writing tablet, so it makes it easy. If you don't want to do that, you can always do the math type and just type with your keyboard. So we have y minus 8 equals 5 times x minus 6. Let's make sure that's correct. Y minus 8 equals 5 times x minus 6. I have noticed that when I write on here, sometimes I do get some stuff wrong. I got to erase. To create a graph, we're just going to draw into a new spot. Boom, there's a line. Okay, let's try our other equation. Y plus 2 equals 5 times x minus 4. My 4 gives me some problems sometimes. Hey, it worked pretty well. And again, I'm just going to draw right into that box. And notice that when I put it in there, I got the same exact line. That blue line went right over that red line. If I erase the blue line again, look, the red line is right there. We said that either one of those points, it didn't matter which one we chose, it would give us the same line. Both of these equations will give us the exact same line. How cool is that? Let's pause the video there. That is part 1 of our video. We have one more part of this video that we will look at, looking through some other equations. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.